Hello one, hello all, it is the most chilly ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for an album review of Quavo-Rocket Power. And not to be confused with that very terrible, trash Nickelodeon show Rocket Power, no.
Yeah, Rocket Power. Remember we used to watch that when we were kids?
We didn't know each other as kids.
Hey, you know something? You're right. But I do know this. You don't have any albums in your background.
See, that's where you're wrong. Boop. Quavo is a Atlanta rapper, former member of the Migos due to the Migos unfortunately breaking up due to the tragic loss of Takeoff and the fallout between Offset. To give some backstory, the Migos were a Atlanta rap group and they were definitely killing it in terms of popularity, in terms of culturally having significance, with their first album being called Culture. Well, their debut album being called Culture, which in my opinion is their best one. Some great hooks on there. Production was nice. I did feel it faltered a little bit towards the end, but definitely a very important album for trap music, and definitely one of the best, if not the best, trap album, if we're not including Rodeo. If we're not including Rodeo, then yes, that is the best trap album, and I said it right here on this review. But over time, they were able to just become really bloated in terms of filling their albums with a bunch of filler and not really adding anything too exciting to later releases, and just becoming very stale, very boring really fast. And Quavo, which is definitely a member of the Migos that I admire most. I think his vocals have a lot of character to them. The only problem with Quavo is he paints himself into a corner really fast. He brings you to the realization that he's not as versatile as you would think he would be. He basically runs out of steam really quickly. But on here, I think there's a little more here. I think on here he definitely switches it up. He definitely brings some introspection when it comes to the lyrics, when it comes to sharing insight of his life and his feelings and what he's going through. Whether it be on the track Mama Told Me, where he is reminiscing on whether it's Mama Told Me, where he's reminiscing on the times where his mother gave him advice on not condoning violence towards women, making sure to make wise investments, and how she is a independent woman, and basically reminiscing on the struggles that she faced while she is sharing these gems and words of wisdom with him. And on the song 1111, where he is reminiscing on the good times back when Takeoff was still on this earth, back when him and Offset were still on good terms. The good old days. And there are some bars that do make me wince a little, I'm not gonna lie, but overall I think this is one of the highlights of the album. And also you have Greatness that has this really nice reggae style production, hornback instrumentation, and Quavo is just really letting it out on here. Honestly, I think this is the best track on here, where he is just sharing his feelings and just letting them out. But I feel he also does that too very well on the track Hold Me, where he is pouring his heart out here. He is trying different vocal variations and he is sounding very good while doing it, by sharing the pain of the tragic loss of Takeoff, his nephew, and also addressing the alleged affair that Offset and Saweetie had, who he was dating at the time. So yeah, he's definitely letting a lot out here. He is definitely showing vocal ability on here, which leaves me puzzled when I hear tracks like Galaxy or tracks like Stain, where the singing is awful. And also, one thing I want to address too is how on his debut, the features were mainly the best part. But on here, it's pretty much the opposite, where most of the features are definitely lacking and bringing down the quality of this album. For some reason, Young Thug sounds way off. Future sounds way off. Then you got this guy, Baby Drill, who sounds totally out to lunch. He sounds like he's falling asleep on the mic. It sounds like Quavo just woke him up from a nap and said, hey, we gotta lay this track down. And he is just not into it. He is so asleep at the wheel here. And also we get the watered down dancehall track, which I don't know why Quavo insists on this, but we get that, and on the hook it sounds awful. It sounds like someone turned Quavo into a robot and put him into a plastic tube. It does not sound good at all. And also there's other tracks on here that lack originality, lack the progression, and definitely lack what could have made this album great, which is introspection, which is basically Quavo just letting his heart out. But unfortunately he decides to choose some weak features, some weak production, and some really non-interesting topics. Like, he has this one where he's basically saying how he has to do this mission and his girl is calling him to get intimate with him. And then it ends with him like saying, I told you not to call me about this. And it just kind of leaves you like, what? So yeah, I feel like when he's in his bag, he's definitely in his bag. But veering off into uninteresting concepts, forgettable hooks, and it seems like at some point the mixing kind of goes down a little bit. Like, the mixing just sounds very thin at some points. Like on the track with Future, Turn Your Click Up. So while this is an improvement from his first album, I don't really find it that enjoyable, and I kind of find myself on the fence with it, honestly. I'm feeling a 2.5 out of 5 on this album. But if you check this out, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Quavo, Rocket Power. Till we meet again.